What's good, peeps? Thanks as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. All right, a story that isn't just about Dillian Whyte. I feel like the last 4 or 5 days have all been about Dillian Whyte, and rightly so, right? It's a huge story, and it's a story that's not going to go away. In fact, I think it's a story that's now getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to continue to grow until we get the right answers, whether that be from Eddie Hearn, Dillian Whyte, obviously, UCAD, British Boxing Board of Control, Team Oscar Rivas, anyone that has been involved or was involved, until we, the boxing public, hear the right answers or the right questions being asked, then it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And I feel like it's already starting to grow weird legs. I mean, Spencer Fearon done an interview with IFL TV, wrongly or rightly, we don't know, where he mentioned that Oscar Rivas might have failed a drug test as well. Again, the story's getting bigger and bigger, right? I mean, nothing surprises me in the boxing world anymore. What I will say, though, one positive that's come out of this negative is that a lot of people now online, not just me and you, but former boxers, writers, are all talking about this PD issue, which is good. I think we've all now seen how the UCAD system works and everyone's embarrassed, right? So I feel like the more that people talk about it, the better. So that's the one positive that's come out of this negative. What I have noticed, though, since this story broke, and this is not me being disrespectful or discrediting anyone, everyone's hustle is different. But what I've noticed is that we don't have enough real journalists in boxing asking the questions. We don't. This is a huge story, and I feel like we, the boxing public, are waiting on interviews done by IFL or Fight Hype or Boxing Social, or in America, those guys, Barbershop Conversations, for answers. As good as those guys are, and I think a lot of them are very good, by the way, especially Rob from Boxing Social, they're not journalists per se, right? They're not. So sometimes they don't ask the right questions, and they shouldn't. Again, they're not journalists. I feel like I want to hear a real journalist, I don't know who that's going to be over here, it could be the likes of Trish Dixon, sit down and ask Eddie Hearn the right questions. Don't pity-patty around the questions, just ask the fucking questions. And a real journalist would do that, right? They don't have the same fear of maybe not getting an Eddie Hearn interview again, which obviously equates to big views, which obviously then equates to more monetization. They're not fearful of that, right? So that's what we need to see. This is a massive story. Imagine this was anything else. So football, NBA. I know that boxing's considered a tier 2 sport, but regardless, if this was any other sport, you wouldn't be waiting for a YouTuber for answers. You just wouldn't, right? You'd wait for proper news publication to send someone out, get a real interview, and then let's hear it properly. And right now, that's not happening in boxing, so that's a shame. All right, let's move on from that. Let's talk about Hughie Fury signing to Matchroom. I think it's a great signing. It's about time, right? Bloody hell, it's about time. I mean, I think he done well to stay loyal to Mick Hennessy for so long. I think Mick's done a great job. I think Mick's somehow still involved in this as well. But I think Mick's done a great job in terms of giving him two really big fights, right? I mean, Joseph Parker in Manchester for a world title was a big fight, and so was Kubrat Pulev, which was an IBF eliminator. So he's given him, I think, all he can do with the purse strings that he's got, right? They're not that big. I mean, the Channel 5 contract isn't going to be worth millions. So I think he's done all he can do, but I think it's about time that he moves into a big promoter that can maybe promote him a bit more. I think he lacks promotion. I think Hughie Fury is a good fighter. I'm not going to say he's a fantastic fighter. I don't even know if he's world level, but he's a good fighter nonetheless, and he's still young. With a bit of promotion behind him, more opportunities will come. He won't have to wait to become mandatory. He'll be able to get some voluntary opportunities, something that Mick couldn't do. You look at the Matchroom stable, and there's some great fights for him at every level. At the lower tier ones, there's the likes of Dave Allen and David Price. Then you move up a level, and there's Chisoras and Takams and Michael Hunters. Then you go further up, and there's the Dillian Whytes, there's Joshua's, there's so many people, Usyk. There's so many good heavyweights for him to fight, not just on Sky, but on DAZN as well. So I think it's a good move. It really is. A lot of people keep saying to me things like, Hughie Fury's young, and he is young, So there are, I guess, years left in him, but it isn't about his age for me. It's about his ability. He does have ability, but I would still like to see him switch trainers and try someone else. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. I know a lot of people talk about loyalty in boxing. There's nothing wrong with getting new ideas and hearing from a new cornerman. Nothing wrong at all. I think it's fair to say Derek Chisora looks a lot better since he left his old trainer, right? Hughie Fury could do with leaving his dad. Awkward conversation, we know. But I feel like every time I watch him, he's very negative. Always fighting on the back foot. He's got the power. We saw that against Sam Sexton. I know people might say that Sam Sexton's very low in terms of maybe English or British level. But regardless, he's got the power to hurt someone. But every time I see him fight people at the top level, so those fights against Pulev and against Joseph Parker, it's a lot of back foot fighting that judges don't really like. So yes, this is a good move in terms of going to another promoter. More eyes will be on him now with Sky and DAZN. But I think the bigger problem is his father, his trainer. I think switch trainers, and you never know with Hughie Fury. You never know. I'm going to look at the British rankings, and I'd only have, obviously, his cousin beating him, AJ, Dillian Whyte. Don't know. He might be able to do Chisora, you know. He might be able to. I think he'll do the likes of Joe Joyce and Gorman and Dubois, all those guys. I think he's very talented. If he can add a bit more offense to his game, something there. But I think a good move for all parties. I think a good move for Matchroom. But more importantly, at this stage of his career, I think it's a fantastic move for Hughie Fury. Anyway, that's what I think. What do you think?